Hello, hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and today we're doing my car makeup kit. So we'll explain what that means and we'll dive right in, but essentially it's getting a very polished look as quickly as possible with as little mess as possible. So let's dive right in. So oh, Frank's joining us. Oh, and I left my cup back there. Oh, well. So I did this exact makeup look with these exact products for a week straight in the car when we were on our latest travel, which was the Louisville trip. So we were constantly on the go, leaving the hotel early in the morning, getting breakfast, then going to the distilleries. And I wanted to save as much time as possible. I wanted to be able to touch up in the car if I needed to. I was also driving to wedding events, all of that good stuff. So I will say, I did my typical skincare skin prep in the mornings in the hotel room, which is the Phytosurgent Sea Submerge and Verdant Force Field. These are wonderful under makeup. And then I would finish with the Live Tinted Hue Guard 3-in-1 SPF Makeup Primer Moisturizer. Now I would throw this in the bag, which I have. This came in a set from Amazon. I don't know that I recommend the packing cube set, but I did really like this bag because it has mesh, it's breathable, and then we'll go through what's in here, but I would throw my Live Tinted in there and reapply right before I did makeup, so that is in there. And then I got these two things together in a set from Amazon. One is a brush protector, the other is for a sponge. I did recently throw away the sponge that was in here, but this is super nice for the sponge. As you can see, you pop it in there. It has vented sides so that it can breathe and the sponge doesn't remain wet and mold eventually. This, I feel like there's so many different iterations of, you know, you don't have to protect a sponge as much as brushes. So I was really interested in this, and I will link this exact one down below. But first of all, the color, it was like a perfect color scheme. But anyway, same principle. It's silicone, so you kind of can, you can pop it open gently is what I was going to say. And for today's purpose, I'm only using 3 brushes. Now these I have not recently washed. I did kind of brush excess off of this pencil brush, but what I have is the Merit foundation brush, a Refer 32, which is an angled kind of, almost looks like it could be a concealer brush. It's got a nice angle to it, but I'll show you what we use this for, and then a pencil brush. That's all I need for this entire look. So let's dive into the products. The first one is going to be either a stick foundation or a stick concealer, one of the coverage of your choice. My pick is the Merit. Is there a name for this? The Minimalist Perfecting Complexion Stick, and I have mine in the shade Bone. I really love the finish that I get with this, and you know, you're in a car, to be able to just kind of draw on your face and not have liquids that can spill and get all over you is key to this look. I'll talk about another option when we get into it, but I'm in need of a lot of coverage today, so that is what we're doing. But I love this. I would even choose this over the Westman Atelier. I think because this formula has silicones in it, it just sits on my skin well or better than the Westman Atelier. I really would like to do a side-by-side of Merit and Westman Atelier now that I have the blush. And if you are interested in that, please let me know because I would love to do that. But see how easy this goes in, especially with a dense brush like this. I did in my Merit versus Salt New York video go over some potential replacements if you don't want to spend $30 on this brush, which I don't blame you. There's sets that you can save on Merit, but there are other options compared to this. You're just looking for something dense that's really going to blend cream products in quickly. So there is the coverage we have, which I like. Now I did take with me a liquid concealer. My top pick of this is the Rose Ink Concealer in LX010 because I do like quite a bit of extra coverage on my eye area and my dark circles, and add a little bit of coverage. Right now I'm breaking out quite bad because hormones, you know? So I'm just going to add that. And again, I'm going in with the same brush to keep things simple. Just tap that in. Now, granted, this is going to take a little longer because I'm explaining to you, but this whole routine took me like maybe 10 minutes in the car, and I felt super polished even for photos, which is so nice. And you know what? I actually already messed up. I tried to repack this bag because it's been a few weeks now, but I have 4 brushes. So these 3 that I showed you, and then my powder brush. I use this every day, so I forgot about it. It's the Eco Tools highlighting brush. A lot of brands make a highlighting brush similar to this. I don't think they make theirs anymore. But once I get my concealer in, blend it in like this, I'm just going to touch my T-zone and under my eyes with a little bit of powder to set it down. And I do prefer a pressed powder in these situations. Again, we're going for less mess. So I'm using the Westman Atelier Vital Skincare Pressed Powder in Translucent. This is my personal favorite, but I would just implore you to use a pressed powder just to keep the mess down. Another one that I really love that's a lot less expensive is the Well People Bio-Based Brightener. I know they changed that name, but it's like ingrained into my memory. I will pop it up on the screen and list all these products that I'm mentioning down below. So I'm pretty much done with this brush, so I'm going to pop it back in here. I don't think I said this, but I love this thing because it really does protect them, and it protects them more than putting them in a bag because while it is kind of squishy, it does hold its shape. And if you're not packing this thing full, which you could get a lot more in here, I'll show you at the end all the brushes inside, but you can fit a decent amount in here. I love this thing. I would highly recommend this. That would be a great stocking stuffer too. But then the next step I did was a cream bronzer. Again, I really love the Merit Bronzer Balm, and I have it in Quince. I also like the Rare Beauty one, but I'm just going to add a few stripes to my cheekbones here and my forehead, and maybe a little on the nose. Again, no mess, no fuss. I'm going to use the same brush, and I'm just going to go around the outer edge of that just to blend. So quick. This is like, I do this now too when I'm in a huge rush to get on a meeting, or if I'm running behind getting ready for work. It's just great. And then next I would do blush, and on this trip I actually went between 2. I have the Merit Cheek Color and Mood, and I also have my beloved Phytosurgence in Condensate. I'm going to go with Condensate today, and I'm using the same brush. I'm just going to dip in, add some blush to my cheeks. And I find too, if you're going to use the same brush, you can. I haven't had any issues with colors getting wonky, and it's because I do my complexion colored products first, then my bronzer, and then my blush, because if my blush has a little bit of bronziness to it, I don't mind. If my bronzer had too much blush, especially as we get kind of further down here, it's not my favorite, and especially up here. So I would think, or I would say that the order of it matters. So then moving into brows, I do what I do every day, which is a brow gel and a brow pencil. So I'm going to start with my brow pencil, just brushing through, and then we're going to fill in any of the sparse areas here. Again, sticking with the cream and stick products here. Like, this routine really made me realize how much I appreciate the convenience and the mess-free nature of stick products. Like, we need more fabulous stick product companies, because, you know, I would love to try nude sticks. I know people love them for a long time, but they're just so problematic. All right, brows penciled in. I'm gonna go in with the brow gel, and the brow pencil I used as the Benefit Gimme Brow Volumizing Brow Pencil in 2.5. I flip-flop back and forth on this. One day I love it, the next day I don't, but I am committed to using it up. I'm probably like 3/4 left of that. But then the saving grace really for me is the Blonde Volumizing Pomade from Merit. It gives just enough definition to my brows and doesn't add too much to where it's very obvious that I do have sparse areas. So I really like this brow gel. This video is very Merit heavy, but I think that kind of just speaks to the fact that they hit what they were going for, I think, dead on, which is quick, easy, mess-free. So then, what is next? We've got brows, cheeks, complexion, eyes. So this is the part that I'm very excited about. For me, this is where if I don't have time, I'm not going to spend any time on my eyes. I would just throw on some mascara and call it a day, some liquid liner, because that's quick for me. However, I felt so put together, and I really only used 2 to 3 products outside of mascara. So the first is some type of either cream or pencil stick eyeshadow. These are pretty much very similar in color. This is the Decollete Eye Glow Gem, and this is in BR 304. I think it's called like Rose Taupe or something. Beautiful color. But what I used most of the time is the Beautypie in Wild Velvet. This is phenomenal for green or hazel eyes. And then I used a liner to deepen it up, and this is the Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal Liner in Fig. So I'll swatch the 3 of these. And that's going to be key, is picking colors that you know you feel confident in and that all go together. And then I'm going to throw in a little spice today. I did not do this on the trip, but I do have this Moonlight Rose Caviar stick from Laura Mercier's holiday collection that we might use in the inner corner. But that's the look that we're going for today with the eyes. And let me show you that with the blush, and you'll start to see that we kind of went with taupey rose for everything, which is my favorite kind of color to wear. So there's condensate next to those eyeshadow sticks and Victoria Beckham. So let's get into application. All right, so this is where we're going to bring in our other 2 brushes, that pencil brush and kind of like a buffing brush. And I'm going to go into that Wild Violet Beautypie cream eyeshadow, and I'm just going to run it all over the lid and then up into my crease, because this is going to be kind of like a true one and done. And as you can see, you don't have to be super precise with it because we're going to blend all that out. So just draw it on like that. And I like to bring mine up a little bit above the crease because I do have partially hooded lids and deep set eyes. All right, so I'm going to take that buffing brush and I'm just going to run it over the outer edge first just to get that started so we don't have a harsh line. And blending almost all the way up into my brow, blending into the inner corner, but I'm kind of stopping because I'm going to let that highlight that we did with the concealer kind of have its moment so that I have a bright inner corner. I'm just going to continue to kind of run the brush and be done. Quick, very quick and mess-free. There's no powder flying everywhere. There's no liquid. It's just a couple swipes of your brush and you're done. And it looks like you put a heck of a lot more effort into it than you actually did. So then I'm going to hold on to that brush because we might come back to it. What I do next is take my eyeliner, and on hers there is a smudge, so you don't even really need that pencil brush. It's totally optional. And I'm just going to run along the lash line here. Like that. And then I'm going to create my flick And then using that smudge brush, I'm just going to blend that out. He protect. It's okay, buddy. All right, continue to blend that out, and I'm gonna pull a closer mirror up so you can see what I am doing here. And you're just gonna play around with this until you get the level of depth and the smudginess that you want. Like that. Do the other eye here. So again, running along the lash line, doesn't have to be perfect. Then we're gonna flick, bring that in, and then smudge our little, to our heart's content. It looks like I spent a lot longer than like 1 minute on this eye look, and I love that so much. And again, super non-messy. So I will go back into that first kind of buffing brush and just make sure things are blended. This is even kind of an extra step. And then if you have the time and you have the product, which I do now, I'm gonna take this and maybe pop a little in the inner corner here. And tap it with my finger. Someone said Frank Spice, and that is exactly what it is. He's very spicy. He's gotten to the point where he just feels very protective of his house and his humans, you know? All right, then sometimes I would add the Instant Eye Bright on the lower waterline just because I like a bright look, but I'm not feeling that today. And then for mascara, I'm just going to quickly apply the L'Oreal Age Perfect Lash Magnifying Mascara, easy to remove, waterproof, which when my lashes were not going through whatever they're going through right now, they looked quite long with this, so I didn't really need a darker than that fig color on my lash line to give myself volume. Today, we'll see, because they've been quite short and spiky if you have been along for this saga. This is where it really starts to look finished, because it does kind of look very unstructured, but that shade from Beautypie and a lot of those eyeshadow sticks are the perfect, are the perfect color where they add dimension depending where on the eye they are. So it looks like I used a lid color and a crease color, and it just builds that little extra dimension without having to use two different shadows, which I love. And some, if you're lucky, you don't even have to use kind of like an outer corner deepener. It just does it on its own. See, I started using Pat a Day again, and I think that's what it is. That's so weird. I digress. So now going into lips, I would have had a lip balm on, I forgot, but I was just using the Fit Glow lip liner in nude and the tinted lip gloss, the Hue Gloss Brilliant in Proud, which is why I'm almost empty with this lip gloss. I used it that entire trip. So just lining my lips like normal. This needs sharpened. And a lovely gloss. And there you have it. This is the finished look. I felt super finished no matter where we were. I even wore it to a dinner rehearsal for a wedding. And now I just want to quickly do a run through of the products. So this size makeup bag, which is what, probably roughly the size of my head, a little bit bigger when I turn it on its side. And all of this, including the options that I gave you, fits in it with plenty of room to spare. I have my, you know what it is? Pretend that we used this, even though we didn't. There's room for 4 brushes with plenty of space to spare. But I'm even going to take that smudge brush out, because if your eyeliner has a smudger on the end of that, perfect. That's all you need. So I have a foundation brush a powder brush and a buffing eyeshadow brush, and that's all we use there with a nice protector. Love this thing. Then we have our concealer and foundation. Honestly, with Merit, you could use this on its own and not bring the concealer, but if I have a breakout, I want high coverage, and also I like a little brightness under my eyes, so I went with both. But you could also just go with this too and get the coverage that you need. It's totally up to you. Then a couple of options for cheeks. I have something that's a little bit more berry and something that's a little bit more taupe rose, but highly recommend a cream blush. This Merit one, I actually just go straight onto my cheeks and it's never caused an issue. I mean, you can see the foundation on there. It's never picked up anything underneath. And then the Phytosurgeons, I just go straight in with my brush, so there's no mess at all, and it's beautiful and it goes in very quickly. Same with the stick bronzer from Merit. Absolutely love this. Another one I would recommend is the Rare Beauty. Then for eyebrows, I would say a pencil and a gel, or whatever you like to use, but I would stick to pencils and gels, not powder, just faster and less messy. A pressed setting powder. Again, I use the Westman Atelier. I also really love I have the old one still, the Well People powder that we spoke about earlier. Then make sure you always pack your sunscreen and reapply right before your makeup. For eyes, I have my mascara, 1 to 2 eyeshadow sticks, or a single potted cream shadow, and then the dark eyeliner to add some definition, potentially another liner if you want to brighten your eyes. What's happening to me? And then for lips, a lip gloss and a lip liner. So including the options I gave you, we have 16 products, but let's take all of the options out and just what I use today. We've got 17 products that I use today, including 3 brushes and my SPF. So what is that? Like 13 products for my full face. And you could pare it down even more than that. But myself personally, I like a lot of blush and bronzer. I like a more polished base, and I like my eyeshadow to look like I put a lot into it when in reality it took 5 minutes. Because the main point of this is that everything is mess-free, easy and quick, because if you're sitting in your car and you need to put a quick face on, all of those things are important. So I hope this was helpful. I wanted to share it because it was a game changer for me, and I could not believe how put together I felt going into these tours. And I'll pop a picture up, and I got ready in 5 to 10 minutes in the car. So I hope that this was interesting, helpful. You didn't mind a little Frank Spice. He just opened his eye. And I also hope that you're having a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.